The importance of philosophy and the critique of evolution. Philosophy is the bedrock of human understanding. It allows us to ask the most fundamental questions about existence, knowledge, and the nature of truth. From ethics to metaphysics, philosophy guides our thinking and keeps us grounded in logic and reason. Without philosophy, science becomes rudderless, and knowledge becomes fragmented and vulnerable to bias. As Socrates famously said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." Philosophy serves as a tool for examining not just life, but also the claims we make about life, such as the theory of evolution, which presents a distorted picture of reality. Philosophy, as the foundation of understanding philosophy, helps us develop frameworks to make sense of the world. It underpins science by asking fundamental questions like, what is truth? What constitutes knowledge? Every worldview, including that of science, is based on assumptions, and philosophy allows us to scrutinize those assumptions critically. Even scientists must rely on philosophy, particularly epistemology and logic, to formulate hypotheses, interpret data, and draw conclusions. As C.S. Lewis argued, good philosophy must exist, if for no other reason, because bad philosophy needs to be answered. This principle applies strongly to the theory of evolution, which often masquerades as pure science, but is riddled with philosophical presuppositions. Evolution, a misinterpretation of the world. The theory of evolution, while widely accepted in mainstream science, is not an objective interpretation of the natural world. Rather, it is a worldview, one that imposes meaning on the evidence rather than drawing conclusions from it. Evolutionists interpret fossils, geological layers, and genetic similarities according to a pre-established framework that denies the possibility of design, purpose, or divine intervention. As evolutionary biologist Richard Lewontin admitted, we take the side of science in spite of the patent absurdity of some of its constructs because we have a prior commitment, a commitment to materialism. This quote reveals that the evolutionary paradigm is not purely scientific, but is built on a philosophical bias toward naturalism. Bias in evolutionary thought. Evolutionists apply their worldview over the evidence they encounter, often resulting in confirmation bias. They see only what their paradigm allows them to see, reinforcing their assumptions instead of questioning them. For example, the fossil record is often cited as evidence for gradual evolutionary change, yet it is riddled with gaps and sudden appearances of fully formed species. Instead of acknowledging these inconsistencies, evolutionists create narratives to explain them away, such as the idea of punctuated equilibrium, which proposes rapid evolution in short bursts, conveniently outside the fossil record. Moreover, many scientists approach the study of life with a philosophical commitment to atheism, which colors their interpretation of natural phenomena. As Michael Roos, an evolutionist and philosopher, admitted, evolution is promoted by its practitioners as more than mere science. Evolution is promulgated as an ideology, a secular religion, a full-fledged alternative to Christianity. This admission underscores the reality that evolution is more than a neutral scientific theory. It is a belief system that shapes how its adherents see the world. The lie told through scientific facts. Philosophically, evolutionists have convinced themselves of a lie and built their framework for life on it. What they interpret from the fossil record or genetic material is often not what the evidence objectively says, but rather the story they have told themselves. As G.K. Chesterton once remarked, when men choose not to believe in God, they do not thereafter believe in nothing, they then become capable of believing in anything. This principle applies to evolutionary thought, where speculation and narrative are often presented as scientific fact. The lie of evolution lies in its subtle manipulation of facts to fit a predetermined framework. Scientific facts, such as similarities between species DNA or the existence of transitional fossils, are cherry-picked and interpreted in a way that reinforces the evolutionary narrative. Evolutionists tell themselves and the public that life arose through random processes, without intelligent guidance, despite the mathematical improbability of such an occurrence. They dismiss design as a possibility, not because evidence points away from it, but because their philosophy demands that life must have arisen naturally. Conclusion. Philosophy is essential for guiding our search for truth and ensuring that science does not become a dogma. Without the philosophical scrutiny of ideas, theories like evolution go unchecked, becoming more ideology than science. Evolution, as currently promoted, is a misinterpretation of the evidence in nature, an elaborate story told by those committed to a materialistic worldview. As the philosopher Francis Schaeffer said, the reason we have a sense of lostness is because we are looking for an impersonal answer to personal questions. The question of life's origin and purpose cannot be answered by evolutionary theory because it is built on the false premise that randomness and chance explain the complexity of life. In reality, evidence in nature points toward design, purpose, and meaning, answers that science, divorced from philosophy, will never discover. Therefore, we must reject the lie of evolution and return to a philosophy that embraces truth, reason, and the possibility of design. Only then will we be free to see the world as it truly is.